This is scary old Pappy again, and I'm out here to show you the pallets that I went and was able to find once again on Craigslist free stuff. So let me show them to you. These are the pallets that I got off of Craigslist, and they were a great find. They're 8 feet long each, made of 1x4s. This is more than enough material that will be needed to make the hearse. So I'm really happy about the find here. I'm going to disassemble them and start working on doing the sides and the roof and finish this thing up. And those are the sides laying bottom to bottom for the hearse, and I'm going to mark them, and we're going to take and mount them to the side of the hearse. There it is, clamped on, ready to drill the holes for the mounting screws. Now, just in case you don't have a couple of pieces of railroad rail laying around for weights, you can use bricks, rocks, or you can clamp the wood down. This is so that it will come up to level with the deck, and I don't have to do any fancy things, just do it. On this application, I did have to go out and buy some bolts, and I'm using carriage head bolts because when they're in there, they look nice and smooth and rounded, and you don't have to have a second wrench. Okay, I've got the sides up on the hearse, and now I'm putting this cross member in at the end of the hearse where the doors are going to be. I've prepared this and ready to put it in. And there she is so far. Pretty cool, huh? All right. What I've done is put a bar clamp up there and clamp the piece in place, and now I'm going to drill the pilot holes and the clearance holes. Okay, next we're going to drill a pilot hole for the screw. Remember, we're going down the grain and we don't want to split anything. We're using a 1/8 inch drill bit, and what we're going to use that for is this. These are what you call cabinet screws. They're for putting cabinets up. These are 2.5 inches long. They'll go through the outside of the doubled up 1x4s and go into the board that we're putting up there, which is a 1x4 that is actually exactly 1 inch thick and exactly 4 inches. And it was some pallet wood that I got a hold of. These are great. We've drilled our pilot holes now, and I just want to show you how thick this is going to be going through. There's the front of the screw. It's going to be going through the two 1x4s, and it will be going into the 1x4 or 2x4, depending on what you use. It's going to be going in there a good inch and a half. Okay, the top header board is on, and let's do some measuring, and I'll show you. There's the screws button up against the two 1x4s and into the header. So the back of the hearse is done with the exception of the doors, and we'll be getting on that as soon as possible. But now we're going to go up to the front of the hearse where we're going to make that wall there. Well, there we have it. I've got the back brace up there done, and now I'm going to start working on the wall that is behind the seat or the front of the hearse. Notice I have the carriage bolts in place. They're bolted, and I'm ready to start working on the wood. But we're calling it due to daylight. We're losing it, but that's what it looks like. It's coming right along. Look at that. All right, I'll talk to you again. This is scary old Pappy. Talk to you later. During the original building of this hearse, one of the things that I failed to record as I built it was this wall right here that is behind the driver's seat, that is the back of the hearse. And so now I'm just going to show you as best I can the way it's built. What we have is these are 1x1s, and this is a 1" by 4 that I used up there and also at the bottom, and they're just nailed together, glued and nailed, and it's they're held together on the back with the sides with these 1/4" bolts. You can see the nuts over there, and that holds the thing together and also makes it easy to come apart and store if you want to take it apart and store it. The back itself is just a thin piece of plywood that was like 1/4" that I took out off of a pallet, and that is how that is done. So, and that completes the outside walls of the hearse as it has been built. And what we're working on is the front of the hearse. I don't know, I guess it's the floorboard. Anyway, I've made the frame for it and it bolts on. We're going to talk about that in a little bit. And we're going to go ahead and put the plywood on to finish it up. These are the nuts that I used to hold the front on with. They're a furniture nut, and that way you can, once this is boxed in, you're not going to be able to get to the other side of it. So you have to use this type of a nut so that you can tighten it up from underneath, and makes it easy to take off and on, because you do want to take this apart and store it. I'm using a really thin plywood for this. It has no strength value on this. It's just going to cover it up and make it look solid like the floorboard should. Okay, there it is. I've stapled on the plywood. I used an Arrow T50 stapler, 1/2" staples, and glue. I'm going to let that dry in the sun, and then I'm going to sand down. I ran it a little over the edges, and I will sand that down to flush with the frame itself, and that's it. It's ready to be bolted on. Hi guys, it's scary old Pappy again. Just wanted to let you know I forgot to videotape the manufacturing of the seat box. As you can see, it's just a box. It's not hard to make. On the inside I made a frame because this is really thin plywood. It's only 1/4". And there it is. I've got to put a top on it, but that's it. So next I'll be working on the top. I'm going to go get the crown molding for that, and that is where we're going to take off from here. Talk to you later. Scary old Pappy back. Now we're going to start working on the roof, the final piece to putting this thing together before we decorate and paint. I think you'll like it. What we're going to use is corner molding to make this roof section. And as you can see, I picked out this, and see how the paint's falling off and everything? I went to a mold shop that sells molding. That's all they sell. And they had this laying in the back, and they gave it to me dirt cheap. It's one of the few things that I had to spend money on. But we're going to cut this at 45s, and it's going to stick out on the hearse like this. I can't get back very far, but as you can see, it's going to be like that. Those blocks that are there are just temporary for holding it up there. Now this roof is going to lift off much like a shoebox lid. It's going to lift up and come off, because this thing as you remember from me building it, it's all going to fold up. So you can take it apart and store it somewhere in a small box. Yeah, right. Okay, guys, I cut the crown molding on my compound miter saw, and it is all nailed together sitting there. Those little blocks are just temporary till I finish it off. Now, the thing is, if you have a compound miter saw, such as this one, it makes it really easy. And if you have a air nail gun, like this little boss stitch I have here, 18-inch nailer, that makes it real easy to nail the corners together and be done with it. Now, I have no intentions of filling in the cracks at the corner with putty or anything. I want it to look like it's an old, decaying, scary hearse, which is what it's hopefully turning out to be. I'll be showing you the rest of the how to fill in here for the roof. As you can see, it looks like it has a moon roof, but when we get done here, it's going to be filled in, and I'm once again going to fall back on these little spacer things that you can get at Home Depot or Lowe's or any of the other big box stores. They throw these things away and they work out so neat, and that's what I'm going to do the top on. And you leave cracks in them for the light to show through. You can do some special lighting and get some really neat things out of it, and it just looks a lot better. There's very little plywood I used on this unit, mainly for the seat and the decking, and that's it. I'm not a big fan of plywood. Plywood has a tendency to make your project look like it was made out of plywood, and I want this thing to look like it's made out of wood, like it would have been done back in the old days. All right, we'll get on with it, and I'll get back to you. Tracy said I could have one beer tonight.
Can't see.
What you're looking at, Halloween fans, is the finishing of my roof. Hi, Mr. P. He's getting his Guido on. Anyway, this is what I call an egg crate, and that is going to set down into the frame that I made out of the crown molding, and it will get nailed on. The way this is achieved is by taking and cutting in these notches in the blocks, or in the pieces that will form the top. And as you can see, then they just slide together like that. And these are the angles that go up against the crown molding. The reason I'm doing this type of sealing work on this is not that I want to be more difficult, it's that I want to use the slatting that I used like in the beginning of this video, where I used it on the frame. I want the open slats on the top, and again for future use for lighting and just all out and out looks. It's a lot easier just to finish it off with a piece of plywood, which you can use for the top, and that will support the crown molding that goes around the outer edge that finishes off this roof part. So you may want to go that. It's a lot easier than doing the egg crate and slats, but it's up to you. It depends on what what you're looking for. If you're going to do the lattice style roof on your hearse, you're gonna need a T50 Arrow stapler, hand stapler. These work really well, and what you do is you put the glue on the lattice work after you've cut it to there like that, and then we put a staple or staple it like this. And there you got it. And it is on there, see? Just like that. Now, myself, I prefer something else. The something else is an Aero PT50, which is an air pneumatic tool. So we'll take and we'll put down our glue like this. Okay, I'm trying to do this all one-handed. It's all a demo anyway. And then you'll put that down like that. And then we take the wonderful PT50 here and we go like this. Much better, much easier on the old hand too. You can see that, where this one I didn't hold it down because far enough it didn't go down. But that's how it works. And we're done. Great.